Well, hello and welcome again to our reading of Theocritus. We're into Idyll 2 and we're up to line 64 here. Now, at this point of the story, Simaitha now is alone. The servant Theocritus has gone off to complete her secret task, and Simaitha is now going to relate to the moon the story of her meeting and her relationship with her lover Delphis. The refrain also is going to change at this point. And so we have this lovely soliloquy or monologue to the moon. Comparisons can be made with other such monologues, especially given by women in Greek tragedy. For example, when Iphigenia tells her troubles to the night sky in the Iphigenia among the Taurians, where she comes out and decides to speak to the air all of her problems in the hope of averting them. So we have here a similar kind of soliloquy, a monologue to some divinity. And it begins quite dramatically with noonday. Now indeed. Mona from moner, alone, and oisa, participle, feminine participle for usa. So now indeed, being alone, pothen, from whence shall I weep over ton erota, my love? So at what point shall I begin to lament my love? Ektinos arxamai, perhaps from what time or perhaps from what circumstance shall I begin? This is a hortatory subjunctive here. Who, tis, it's a question again here, agage from ago, this is the aorist here without augment, so who led this evil thing upon me? So who brought this terrible thing upon me? Ainth for ailth there, it's ain't there in this dialect. Now this here is slightly complicated. It's 2 plus loyo with a capital E. So it's the daughter of Eubulus. Armin for Hamin, and Anaxo is another name. So it was Anaxo, the daughter of Eubulus, the basket bearer, Armin for us. So perhaps this could be dated with the possessor here, our basket bearer. Others take this as it's our Anaxo, daughter of Eubulus, the basket bearer, in the sense that she was either her slave or perhaps some relative. Could be simply just the Anaxo, the daughter of Eubulus, the basket bearer for us. Ain't there, she went into the Alsos, to the grove of Artemis, genitive here, tai, day. Now it's for whom, it's a relative pronoun, but it might be something like in honour of whom, so for whose benefit, so in honour of whom. Toka for tote, at that time, and we get a nice men and de. There were many other theria, wild beasts, pompuesque, this is from pompuo, to parade, and it's got that skirt, that iterative form there. So at that time, in her honour, many other wild beasts were parading, peristodon, well, standing about, and N is really adverbial here, so and among them was understood a lioness. Now here's our new refrain. Frasdiomu ton eroth hothen hiketo potna solana. O Lady Moon, speak of my love, Hothen, from whence it came. Frasdes probably speak here. I think it can also mean give thought to. Some older translations say mark. Perhaps just speak. So, speak of my love, from whence it came, O Lady Moon. Kai me ha Thumarida Thraisa Trophos ha Macaritis. So the Thracian nurse, whose name was Thumaridas, and ha Macaritis is an interesting expression here. It means the blessed one. It's like our expression of blessed memory, i.e. she's dead. And so you say this as perhaps to avert troubles or evil. You say she who is blessed, or she's blessed because she's no longer with us. So the Thracian nurse Thumaridas, of blessed memory, Niusa, participle, dwelling Ankythuros, near our door, so she's a neighbour, so dwelling nearby perhaps. Katyuxeto kai litanuse, very strong words. Katyukamai is to amongst other things, it's to pray, to be, and so here she prayed to me, she begged me. Kai litanuse, well, again, it's got lite as a prayer, but perhaps something like entreated me. But they're very strong words, so she really begged and besought me, she entreated me. Tha sasthai, would be from theamai, contracted. It's a middle infinitive here. It's to look at. It's cognate with the word theatre. It's got from the same root. So to come and see ton pompan, the parade. Ego de hoi ha megaloitis. Now megaloitis, she's referring to herself. So she who was greatly doomed, i.e. herself. So I, the one greatly doomed. Homatune, this is the imperfect from homatio, takes a dative. I accompanied, so I, the doomed, greatly doomed one, I accompanied. Now the hoi is for aute, her. Another participle, suroisa, often translated as just wearing, but it means sort of dragging, trailing perhaps. So trailing a beautiful ketone, beautiful dress perhaps, made of busos is linen, so made of linen. Now we get a chi plus amphi here, we get crassus, and this is amphi, this is from amphistello in the middle. So it's just having adorned myself, or just wearing, if you like, having adorned myself with the xustida. Xustis is a long dress, possibly an overcoat, could be a wrap of some sort. The one belonging to Clearista. So she's borrowed this from Clearista. And then we get our refrain, Frasdiomu tonandra hothen hiketa potna salana. Ade de usa mesan kat hamaxiton hai tolakonos. Edon delphin homu te kai eu damipon iontas. So, participle again. So when I was Ade already literally in the middle place where the hamaksa, where the wagons go. So it's a fancy word for a road, but so when I was already when I was at the midway, perhaps literally in the middle place where wagons go. So when I was midway, perhaps on the road, you get, it's de-aspirated, but it's coming from hamaksa, a wagon, and the it root, the I is from Amy Ibo, so it's where the wagons go. So when I was already halfway along the road, hey, at the place where is ta, literally the things of Lycone, so where Lycone's place is. Adon, I saw Delphis, and Eudamippus, Iontas going homu together. So I saw Delphis and Eudamippus going along together. Tois, for whom the Gnaeus, this is a nominative, it's the perhaps the beard. It's really more the light beard. It's the sort of down on the cheek, so they're still quite relatively young men. So for whom their beards, now ace for Hain, for Ain here. So their beard was, so for whom their beard, singular for plural, so their beards were, we'd say, more golden, more yellow, comparative, and genitive comparison than Helichrus, which is a lovely yellow flower. So their beards were more golden than Helichrus. And so there was a men there, and we get the corresponding de, and their stathia, from neuter plural from stethos, uncontracted here. Their breasts were still bonta, were shining or glistening, polupleon, very much more than you, O moon. So their breasts were glistening even much more than even you do, Solana, O moon. Hose, probably something like since here. Now we get a genitive absolute without the subject, so we've got to supply our tones or something, and we're getting it after hose. So since they had left, and the apot's going with the Lepontone, so it's Temesis here. So since they had left arti just now, their kalon ponon, literally their noble activity, the noble activity of the wrestling school, i.e. After a good workout. And again we get the nice refrain, for as diomur ton erot hothen hiketo potna solana. Now we get this lovely sequence of hoses here. This is hose for kai hose. We get hose, hose, and hose. The first one is not accented, and these ones are. So it's when I saw them. This is idon for Adon. So when I saw them, how I became crazy, how mad I became, and how the thumos, the soul, deleos of wretched me, Iaphthe, was ignited with fire for me. So we get a dative, the possessor here. So when I saw them, how I went crazy, and how my heart, or perhaps my deleus, the heart of me who was wretched, was set aflame by fire. Tode Carlos etaketo, very extreme, and my beauty etaketo from tako, to melt, so was melted away. Something like my beauty faded, literally melted away. Uketi pompas tenas ephrasaman. No longer did I give any thought to these processions. Ud hos palin oikadi apanthon egnon. Nor egnon do I literally, did I know how Apainthon for Apailthon, I came oikadi to home Palin again, so, or perhaps back. So I came back home, or came home again. Alametis carperonosos exesalaxin. Nosos is a feminine noun meaning disease, so you've got a feminine adjective, and caparos is dry, perhaps parching, but some parching disease shook me from ex salasso, shook me severely. The X is very strong there. So some parching disease shook me exceedingly, and Kaiman for Ekaimain, I lay in Clinteri on my bed for 10 amata, 10 days and 10 nights. And now we have again the refrain. Frasdiomu ton eros hothen hiketo potna selana. Kai mucros men homoios igenete polakith dapsoi. And my skin became, so I'll take the adverb first, so polaki oftentimes, my skin became like to thapsos. Now thapsos is a yellowish sort of wood. They made yellow dye from this. So became my skin oftentimes became like yellow wood, and erun dec kephalas pasai triches, and all the hairs literally flowed out from my head, so fell out from my head. This is from Reo. So very extreme things are happening to her. Alta de loipa ostiet es kaidema. Now the outer here is probably something like alone or only. So only ostia, bones and skin, were still left. So all I had left, so I became just skin and bones. So there was only skin and bones were left any longer. Eti es tinos uk eperasa. Now es doesn't take a genitive here, so we've got to supply something like oikon. So into the house of whom, it's a question here. So into whose house did I not cross over, from perao. So whose house didn't I enter? Whose the doorway did I not cross? Or into, again supplied from here, into the house of what sort of old woman, elepon, did I leave out? So which house of an old woman did I pass over, did I leave out, did I fail to go to? An old woman, Hartis, who, ep aiden. Now this is to sing against, and it's a technical term, is to sing a magic charm against, sometimes to curse and so on. So it is from aido, to sing, and then the epi is to sing against somebody, and hence to utter a magic charm against them. So whose place did I not go to, and to the house, which house of an old woman who casts spells did I ignore, did I leave out? Allah hes uden elafron. But it was, ace for ain here, it was a light thing in no respect. So it was no light matter, but hochronos, the time, and nuto, well, anuo can mean to make haste here, so time made haste, fugon, flying or fleeing. So time was flying past, was flying by. And again we have our refrain, Frasdiamu ton erot, hothen hiketo potna salana. And so we'll leave that to the next recording.